Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're immediately plunging into, an internal conflict that feels incredibly common, maybe universal. It's confusing, often frustrating.
Mhm.
It's that moment when you really desire something good, something nourishing, like a promotion or real love, or even just deep peace. It's right there.
Within reach.
Exactly. And you reach for it, but then there's this quiet, almost elegant flinch, an interruption. Your system just pulls back.
Yes, that silent refusal. The mind says, yes, finally, this is what I've worked for. But the body, somewhere deep down, whispers, hold on, abort mission.
Right.
And if you, listening right now, can tune into that immediate tightening maybe, or a sinking feeling, when you imagine getting that thing you really want, you're already touching the core of what we're exploring today.
And we usually label that moment, failure. Or maybe we think we just lack commitment. We try to push through it with willpower.
And that's the central misdiagnosis we want to challenge here. That pullback, that immediate flinch, it isn't laziness. It's not a sign you don't truly want it.
So what is it?
It's protection. Your system, working from some really old programming, learned somewhere along the way that real abundance, the kind that asks you to show up fully, requires visibility, maybe expansion, vulnerability.
And that felt dangerous.
And it concluded, maybe rightly at some point in your past, that level of exposure, that kind of showing up, it's dangerous.
Okay, so our mission today, our deep dive, is to understand why our own internal intelligence might see receiving something good as a threat, why we block that contact.
And maybe how we can consciously choose to stay present when that flinch inevitably happens.
Yeah.
Because it probably will.
Right. Let's ground this idea because it can feel a bit abstract. The examples you shared were so helpful, showing this flinch kind of hiding in plain sight as like responsible adult choices.
Yes, the art of the graceful exit from your own desires.
Yeah.
It's a skill we can get quite good at. Think about Maya.
Okay.
She was the picture of the ideal employee,
Right.
Dedicated, smart, working towards leadership for years. Her ambition was clear as day.
Until the offer landed. The big promotion, influence, money, everything she said she wanted.
And what happened? Immediate, visceral dread. Not excitement, dread.
Wow.
She went home, apparently cried, felt paralyzed by this fear of being found out like an imposter, or becoming cold like some leaders she'd seen.
So she was faced with a choice. Step up, take the space, risk failing, or being seen fully.
Or retreat. Go back to the known, comfortable zone of being the reliable, maybe slightly unseen backbone.
Then she chose relief, declined the promotion, made up something about personal restructuring.
Yes, choosing immediate safety. But the cost of that safety, a profound, lingering emptiness, it stayed with her.
That really resonates. Then there's David, the relationship example. He meets someone wonderful.
Real connection. You described it as soft eyes, easy laughter, shared values, everything pointing toward genuine intimacy.
It sounds perfect on paper.
Exactly. But the night before the third date, the one that feels a bit more real, requires more emotional presence, maybe more risk,
He cancels.
cites a work emergency, which, turns out, didn't exist. His conscious mind wanted connection, but his nervous system basically hijacked the controls.
So his body remembered something his mind had maybe forgotten or was trying to ignore.
Absolutely. That visceral memory drove the action. For his system, closeness might have equaled suffocation in the past. Intimacy might have meant inevitable loss or abandonment.
So he wasn't running from her, really.
He was running for the terrifying emotional risk that true vulnerability demanded. That's the flinch.
Okay, and the last one, the financial example. Lena. I think many of us might recognize this one with a little wince. She gets an unexpected $1,200 tax refund. Free money.
Unexpected, unconditional abundance. What does she do?
Instead of using it thoughtfully, saving it, investing, buying that one thing she actually needed.
She blows it. In 48 hours. On random stuff. Things she probably didn't even really want or need. Clothes she won't wear. Online courses she'll never open.
It's like that reflex. Must neutralize this sudden, possibly terrifying good thing immediately.
Precisely. For her system, holding onto that abundance felt fundamentally wrong. Maybe like tempting fate, or like she was stealing it somehow.
So the money itself wasn't the threat.
No. The threat was the self-discovery that thriving might actually require. If she kept it, used it wisely, she'd have to face the question, okay, what would you do if you were actually allowed to thrive? To keep the good thing.
And spending it fast lets her avoid that whole scary expansion of self.
Successfully avoided. She stayed safe in the familiar pattern.
Okay, so what ties Maya's dread David's cancellation and Lena's spending spree together. This invisible, automatic barrier between what they say they want and what their system lets them have or embody. What's the term for that?
We call that the Gestalt gap. It's that space, that sometimes vast distance between your conscious intellectual desire, the promotion, the love, the savings, and what your somatic, your emotional system actually permits you to occupy or embody.
Right. So if we all intellectually want success, love, money, why does the body often slam on the brakes and say, nope, too much, shut it down? How is this different from just like procrastinating, laziness?
That's a great question. Procrastination is usually more about delaying action. The Gestalt gap, though, is an interruption of contact. It's deeper. It's often the activation of an old, unspoken contract.
An old contract?
Yeah, think of it like this. The good thing approaches. Your mind says, go, get it. Energy mobilizes, you feel excitement, maybe adrenaline, focus. But then the system does a quick scan of its ancient code, its old rules for survival.
And what does that code say?
Things like, warning, if I shine too brightly, I might get punished or cut down. Or, careful, if I receive this, I'll owe something massive emotionally later. Or maybe, danger, if I'm truly happy and let it in, the other shoe will drop and the fall will hurt more than ever.
Ah, okay, so it's not a rational calculation in the moment. It's more like a freeze response based on old emotional software that hasn't been updated.
Exactly. It's the interruption of the contact cycle, as we call it in Gestalt.
Yeah.
Energy mobilizes towards the good thing, but then the system flinches, the action freezes midstream, actual contact is avoided, and satisfaction, that deep, nourishing sense of completion, of landing, is never reached.
You never really taste it.
We hover just outside. Because to the nervous system, remember, that fullness, that success, doesn't feel like winning. It feels like maximum exposure, maximum vulnerability, maximum risk.
Which explains why just trying to override it with sheer willpower or positive affirmations often feels like, well, fighting yourself. It just creates this massive internal conflict, leaves you exhausted, and you're still stuck.
Precisely. Because you haven't actually acknowledged the intelligence behind the no. That resistance, it isn't a flaw to be crushed. It's actually a brilliant, loyal function. It likely saved you at some point in your past.
Saved you how?
Maybe when your needs felt way too big for your environment to handle. Or when expressing your true feelings was met with shame or dismissal. That defense mechanism worked back then. We don't pathologize it, we need to honor it. Resistance is intelligence. It's just outdated intelligence sometimes.
Okay, so instead of fighting these internal guardians that are trying to keep us safe based on old information, we need to understand their methods. What are some common strategies, these defenses that we use to manage this fear of being full, of receiving?
Yes, understanding the strategy is key. There are distinct defenses designed specifically to freeze that energy moving towards contact. One of the most common is intellectualizing.
Ah, thinking your way out of feeling.
Exactly. You instantly rationalize the interruption. Maya, for instance, she likely didn't just sit with the raw dread. She probably very quickly shifted into creating a mental spreadsheet, a bulleted list, proving why the promotion logically doesn't align with my 5-year personal growth plan right now.
The instant justification to avoid the actual terrifying emotion.
Yes. The feeling is too raw, too vulnerable, so the intellect steps in to sterilize the situation, make it manageable, logical. Another big one is deflection and minimizing.
Oh, I know this one.
We all do. Someone gives you a genuine compliment about your work, your appearance, maybe a success you've had.
And you immediately bat it away, make a joke. Oh, this old thing, or hey, it was nothing really.
Exactly. You minimize the incoming abundance, the recognition, because letting it land, letting yourself be seen in that positive light feels unsafe, too visible.
You're literally making the good things smaller so it doesn't feel so overwhelming or demand so much space inside you.
Correct. But perhaps the most subtle and often most insidious defense is retroflexion.
Retroflexion, okay, what's that?
This is when the energy that was mobilized for outward contact, maybe energy for assertion or expression or reaching out, gets turned back inward, against the self.
Can you give a concrete example? How does that show up day to day?
Absolutely. Think about David canceling the date. He felt intense anxiety and urge to flee, right? That's energy mobilized to move away from the situation.
Okay.
Instead of acting on it directly in a healthy way, maybe communicating his anxiety, he retroflects. He cancels abruptly, and that outward moving energy gets trapped inside, likely manifesting as overwhelming physical tension, maybe stomach knots, racing heart.
Burrowing, angry words.
Perfect example.
Right.
You feel anger, energy mobilized for assertion or boundary setting, but you're afraid of conflict, so you swallow the words. That energy meant for the outside turns inward. It might become a tension headache, jaw clenching, maybe even depression over time. The action is frozen, the energy doesn't go away, it just turns inward and consumes you.
Wow. Okay, so underlying all of this seems to be this idea of projection. We're not actually rejecting the promotion or the person or the money right now.
We're often rejecting what it represents based on our past. We're projecting past danger onto the present moment of fullness.
That feels like the crucial insight.
It really is. Your body, your nervous system, often doesn't differentiate much between the shame you felt when you were 10 and the vulnerability of exposure you feel right now, getting that praise. The present abundance, the job, the love, the money, feels like the old pain from them.
So the job isn't actually too much.
It's the echo of an old shaming voice that maybe said you'd never measure up, or that being successful was somehow selfish or dangerous.
So the work then isn't to fight that echo, that defense, but to engage with it. Talk to the guardian.
Exactly. We use what's called the Gestalt dialogue, even if it's just an internal one. We approach that part of us saying no, the part that flinches with genuine curiosity, not judgment or contempt.
So you ask it questions.
Gently, yes. You might ask internally, what are you protecting me from right now in this moment of potential goodness? Or what do you need from me, the adult me, to feel safe enough to let me receive this? Just a little bit. We're trying to update the old contract through dialogue and reassurance, not through force.
That completely shifts the focus, doesn't it? From self-improvement, like fixing yourself, to self-discovery and maybe self-compassion. Okay, so if we stop fighting the defense, how do we actually move forward? How do we break the interruption cycle and land in the experience, receive the good thing?
We shift our entire orientation. We move from analyzing the past, trying to figure out all the whys, to simply residing in the present moment. The path through the Gestalt gap isn't figuring it all out. It's awareness without judgment.
Okay, and this sounds like it requires active participation from you, the listener, the next time you feel that flinch.
It absolutely does. It's a practice. So
Yeah.
next time the compliment lands, or the opportunity arises, or the unexpected good fortune shows up, and you feel that old familiar contraction, that urge to deflect or run, the invitation is to pause.
Just pause. Don't act immediately.
Don't act, don't explain, don't minimize, don't rationalize, just pause. And notice the physical sensation. Where is it? Tightness in your chest, dry throat, shallow breath, just observe it.
That presence, that standing still right in the tremor, that feels like the critical moment.
It is. It's the moment where choice becomes possible again, where you interrupt the automatic reaction.
Yeah.
And the key shift here is differentiation,
Meaning?
meaning you learn to identify with the observer, not the reaction itself. You say to yourself, I'm having the reaction. There's the fear. There's the urge to pull back, rather than collapsing into, I am the fear or I am failing.
So you're not the reaction, you're the one noticing the reaction.
Exactly. That distinction creates space. It's the beginning of agency, of choice.
So the goal isn't to achieve immediate, effortless perfection in receiving. It's not even necessarily to stop flinching altogether.
No, I don't think anyone ever completely stops flinching. Not really.
Mm-hmm.
The defenses are deep. The path is more like you flinch and you stay.
Stay. Stay with the feeling.
Stay present. You allow the fear to rise. You allow the trembling, the discomfort, but you consciously choose to breathe through it and remain present in the moment of contact.
Yeah.
You let the compliment linger for a second longer. You let the money sit in the bank account for a day without the frantic urge to spend it. You stay on the threshold.
And there's a practice you mentioned, something deceptively simple, meant to be felt more than just thought about.
Yes. When that old terror rises, the one that screams you're too visible, too successful, maybe just too much. The practice is to whisper softly but fiercely to yourself, I am here.
Not I am worthy or I am ready or I deserve this.
No, just I am here, anchored in this present moment. Because presence, simply being here, is really all that abundance asks of us. That simple act of grounding yourself in the now is how we begin to prevent our history from constantly hijacking our future possibilities.
That really pulls it all together. It circles back to that core idea.
Mm-hmm.
We're not pushing abundance away because we're fundamentally flawed or unworthy. We're often pushing ourselves away.
Mm-hmm.
The version of ourselves who is capable, who is whole, who can occupy that larger space. So the healing isn't about striving to become worthy. It's maybe about ending the internal war against our own inherent aliveness, our own capacity.
Beautifully put. And we also have to face the true cost, or maybe the true demand, of receiving abundance fully. To truly receive means becoming more visible. It means expanding, taking up your rightful space, shining even when it might feel inconvenient, maybe even to others.
That often requires setting boundaries, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, firm boundaries. And maybe, yes, disappointing some people who are quite comfortable with or even benefited from your smaller, less demanding self.
So the fear isn't really of the success or the love or the money itself.
I don't think so. Often you aren't afraid of the thing. You're afraid of the power it returns to you. The power to be seen, to be authentic, to be loved as you are, without the constant performance or minimizing.
And that power.
That power demands that you step into a version of yourself you were perhaps taught, maybe subtly or not so subtly, to fear or suppress.
Okay, so for you, our listener, maybe here's the final provocative thought to carry with you, to chew on this week. The real breakthrough isn't necessarily when you finally get the thing you desire. The breakthrough might be the moment you consciously stop blocking yourself from receiving it when it arrives. You don't always need to understand every single root cause of why you push good things away.
You just need to notice the autopilot pattern and choose differently. When abundance approaches, in whatever form, try this. Pause. Breathe. Feel the trembling, the resistance, the fear, and then just choose to stay, even for a moment longer than usual. Let yourself be found by the good that is seeking you.